Hello, YouTube. Ben streaming here. Ben streaming low key. And please tell me, you've seen Arcane on Netflix. Now, a lot of channels have been blowing up recently with their video essays on the topic, but I'm here to give you more introspection. And the show is very rich with a lot of themes I love to discuss. And if you just type in Arcane review and just some of the different things that people talk about on the internet. And the show is so rich with themes. And I'm not going to discuss all of them, but I'm going to discuss a few in particular. Let's pick just four for today. And more videos to come on this topic. But four little highlights for me where I was like, oh, very nice touch that they did. And not of course overlooking the just the visual spectacle of the entire production and how rich and textured and layered the storytelling is, but something in particular that I liked about it is how they really covered trauma and how trauma often stems from childhood. So how they covered that progression of traumatic event, its effect on someone, and how your own particular traits also affect how you interact with trauma. And for me, that was just chef's kiss. The characters really feel like real living, breathing people. And I found the protagonist in the show extremely relatable. Now, I'm assuming you've already watched it. If you haven't, maybe watch it first and come back to this video. But the the scene in particular is the initial scene where, or even just the build up. Sorry, let me gather my thoughts a bit. The build up to the scene where Jinx and V initially split up. So just building up where they show little things about how Powder has a, and they make her so adorable. I must say, those big eyes, and she's so petite and so. Even when she gets things wrong, you're just like, oh no, it's okay, carry on, carry on. And how she builds a little bit of an inferiority complex, and how that triggers such immense anxiety in her and abandonment issues. And you can really tell the writers of this show had a very good understanding of attachment theory and how it comes from the primary caregiver. And just she really when I was watching the show, the character Powder really reminded me of people who I've interacted with, and even reminded me of myself and times where I've felt immense anxiety over different situations. And just that point in itself, it's the type of show that's very rewatchable because you can go back and pick away so many nice little details about, oh yes, actually. And the the way they really captured tone and feeling of how tense scenes really feel tense. You can really feel the stress in the air when they're running, they're hiding, and just the thrill. But then afterwards, that's that, oh, are they going to get caught? I don't know what's going to happen. You see the sense of urgency and you feel the pressure all the different parties are under when the enforcers are trying to find them, in the pressure they're under to find this particular weapon, bring these as we're seeing wrongdoers to justice, while in the underground side of it, it's like, yeah, stick it to the man, take them. And oh, Sunny, Mr. Sunny Gavin's in the chat. Hey, how are you? um, Always looking forward to your content. I hope you've been good. Today I'm actually just reviewing or just sharing my thoughts on a show on Netflix, if you watch um, any Netflix. Now, the other part of the show that I really liked is how V mentions herself being in the underground city and feeling and being treated lesser than the guys in Piltover. And I very, very, very much related to the frustration she felt, and having to almost prove herself and almost try fight back, rise up by her fists, and just that feeling of feeling trapped and almost feeling like if you could acquire enough money or if you could just break your way out of this cycle. And that is such a human thing. And you understand why so many people in the underground resort to shimmer. It's this feeling of hopelessness, desperation. And these guys are in the hood, these guys are in the ghetto, these guys are in the cut, these guys are in the gutter for real. And you understand how it's often not that simple, how these different personalities and just people, even throughout history, have created a lot of the world's successes, but a lot of the world's failures as well. And how the 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 way the show uses different inspirations, that these are not necessarily ideas that they created from scratch, but these are ideas that they've interpreted and put in through the arcane lens in such a beautiful way. And please let me know in the comments. The comments community for this show have been so insightful. Guys are seeing so many things and describing it in such an amazing way that please, my comment section, you are more than welcome to share your thoughts on this show or some of the introspective feelings you may have felt from the show. But one of the inspirations I picked apart from this particular show is Charles Dickens' Tale of Two Cities. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. And you feel that a lot in this show. Like you really feel like, wow, things in Piltover are really going well, but things in the underground are really not going well. Guys are recovering from a war. They have their lives, but at what cost? And I feel that so much in this show. The other scene in particular that instantly when I saw it, it reminded me of a Banksy painting, a classical Banksy painting. It was a scene of Echo versus Jinx on the bridge. And it even reminded me a little bit of Gorillas. Maybe it was just the blue hair and the song "Kids with Guns." Kids, I don't know. I felt the show references so many iconic things in media and then blended it all together and weaved it into the story in a very beautiful way. And of course, Jinx her character being so inspired by Harley Quinn from the DC comics, and you could almost say Silco being so almost like a Joker like figure in Jinx's life, and he him playing a father figure, but also him being this leader, this charismatic leader for a lot of the misfits in the underground, who all get drawn towards him. But I liked how the show backed that up with even more layers of he's not just a villain, and he doesn't just want he doesn't want to just form an empire for the sake of forming an empire. There's a lot of depth and there's a lot of him affirming his identity, and you can see why him and Vander established such a strong brotherhood and connection, but at the same time why they had to split, and how this particular story, it comes back in different themes of how who V truly is and who Powder or Jinx truly is, why that sisterhood also has to split because eventually they become more of what they are, and they align to other people who share those deep ideals. And it's a tragic thing, but it is a life thing, if I could call it that much. How the big city and the underground eventually also have to split. They become so much of what they are that they too have to part. And the other theme, or the other scene in Arcane that really established it for me, was just the character Ambessa. Now, Bessa being Mel's mother, sure, but she completely flipped what used to be the mammy role. There was no way you were seeing a woman of color in previously, what shows used to be, there was no way, no way, no way you'd see a strong, and she's built, and she is living like a pimp. On top, she is of much wealth, and she thinks in such a clear, concise way, even when she describes her actions. And she was like, no, we have to kill one, or else we'll have to kill 1,000 later. She mentions figures, she mentions scale. Everything is precise. Like, I do this for this, I do this for this. The reason why we must do this for this. In history, this happened, so I must do this. And just the way they even pushed like interracial relationships and same-sex relationships. It's just like this show does it in a very subtle and not a crude way. And I really felt like they are doing so many groundbreaking things, let alone the animation and the mixing of 3D and 2D, but just very subtle things that you see. It was so rare, especially in in animation. It's like cute anime girls. You don't get black, strong, real women in animated shows. That was like, nah. There's petite little anime girls who are kawaii all the time, and that's it. So that thing of having relatable characters where I can relate to also strong motherly figures who at times seem harsh, and they're like, I have to be harsh. And to also realize sometimes parents make mistakes too, and they do the best that they can with what they have. And you almost have to go through this whole thing of reparenting yourself later on, and going back and analyzing. And as I get older as well, you see faults in people and faults in yourself, and you realize, hey, at that time, without the internet and without people you could consult and console with, those are the decisions you made, and you just continued on as a dysfunctional person fighting your way through life's challenges. So the character of Ambessa definitely left an impact on me, and I was like, I get her. I really felt like I got her. And the other particular thing about this show is how they've paced it so well, where they give you little doses of, boom. Now they talk about power, power in relationships, power between cities, power between people, the strong and the weak, power between your desires and your logic, and substances with like shimmer. How they also show the hunter and the prey, and the oppressor and the oppressed, and how life is that constant tipping of those different things. And even in Bessa's relationship, how when she comes off the warship, and the warship is grand, huge, and you just see so much just scale of the things around her really speak to the type of person she is. And just the costume design and set design really tells even more about the characters. Even how Jinx and V have their tattoos. They have, one has like a cloud tattoo, mostly just cloud tattoos, and the other has got clouds and gears. And it really showed how they have this broken quality to them, but they're getting through life, and they're working through it. And it really showed me how people have this self-soothing way to almost reclaim their identity. And it's kind of how life has dealt me these cards, but I'm going to build it, and I'm going to be this person, and I'll do what I want with that. And I felt that a lot. It felt so relatable how they were really going through life. And I don't know, it's I need to give this show another watch, and see what other themes I can pull from it. But yeah, did you watch the show? Let me know. Let me know what other good shows that you enjoyed. The other show that I felt was as deep and as rich was, in my opinion, Berserk. Berserk covered human relationships and just the trials of life and parental and child relationships in such a rich way. And I think I'll end this video here. Been streaming low key. It's 2022. What are we going to talk about? What are we going to do? Tune into this channel to find out. Wishing you an awesome week and cheers.